Hey, it's Mike from Party of Four Crafts back again today. Back in the makerspace at the school today, and I have something new and exciting to share with you. GweikeCloud loaned me one of their lasers to do a review and a comparison to the Glowforge Pro that's sitting right next to it. So I'm going to be walking you through the differences between the two lasers and then doing side-by-side comparisons to see how they compare to each other. The GweikeCloud seems to have fixed some of the complaints that people have about the Glowforge, and we'll see how those promises turn out in reality. So we'll do a quick montage of the unboxing of the laser, and then I'll talk about it a little more. In this episode, I probably won't run any jobs on it. That'll be a separate episode, but we will get into side-by-side running exactly the same job on the two machines and see how it goes. All right, there it is. It's all built. Now, before I start talking about the features, let me take you on a tour and show you what came with it. So here's the machine. It's a little bit bigger than the Glowforge Pro. The material that it uses is the same size. So the bed is about 12 by 20, depending on what speed you're engraving. It's about the same as the Glowforge. As you can see in the video, it's a bit heavier than the Glowforge. You definitely should not try to move this with only one person. The instructions say to use 2 people, but my assistant just wasn't here today, so I had to make it work with just one. It comes with the hoses that you'll need. There's additionally, I haven't installed yet, there's a fan over there. So it has 2 hoses, one that goes from the machine to that box, and then one that goes from that box out the window, just like the Glowforge if you have the air filter. There's a bunch of accessories in here. I'll talk more about lenses in a while. There's even cleaning equipment and extra parts in there as well. It comes with the clamps to put the hoses on. This is pretty exciting. It comes with a USB cable, which is right here. And then this is an extra camera cable. So if your camera cable goes bad, it came with an extra one already to begin with. The USB cable is exciting because the GweikeCloud works online like the Glowforge does, or with the same software but offline or with Lightburn. And Lightburn is the software that almost all of the Chinese lasers use, the OM techs and all of the generics, and a lot of the ones that you buy, the Miras and those, most non-Glowforge lasers use Lightburn, and you can use Lightburn with the GweikeCloud. So that's pretty exciting. That's one of the biggest complaints about the Glowforge, is that it's completely online. So you can use this machine online, or you can use the same simple software offline, or you could hook it up with either a USB cable or a Cat5 network cable and print directly from your laptop. Also, the adapter, you can see there's two different size hoses. It looks like one's 4 inches and one's 6 inches. So it has the adapter there for that as well. Has a warranty card and some samples to show you that it's been tested. It's got the big button here and an emergency stop button, which is nice. You twist it to pop it out like most lasers do. And then inside, there's the laser head. The laser tube is inside of this box. So you don't have to clean the glass tube regularly. You don't get to see the pretty pink and purple flashes, but you can see the end of the tube out there. This is a 50-watt tube. 2 of their lasers are 50 watts, and the other one I'll talk about more. But the wattage of a laser is directly proportional to the length of the laser tube. So this machine had to be a little bit wider to get that extra 5 or 10 watts of laser power into it. It has power supply over there. On this side, you can see that the coolant, the water is all self-contained, just like in the Glowforge. It has air assist fan. It does have another exciting addition, is it does have a rotary available. So there's a switch that you flip to convert from rotary to just using the regular bed. I'm not sure yet what that other switch does. It's not labeled, and I haven't come across that in the instructions manuals yet. So there's one of the windows, just like in the Glowforge. You have to clean that occasionally, and you should always move the head gently because it makes electricity flow back into the machine. Here's what the inside of the head looks like. So there'll clearly be some cleaning done inside of there occasionally. There's probably a lens and a mirror inside of there that you have to clean. So this right here, you're looking at the back side of a mirror. The underside of the mirror is there. And then that's a window that leads down to the lens, which is inside of this tube. And in a future video, I'll talk a little more about, there's 2 different lenses available for this machine, and I'll talk about why that is and what the benefits and drawbacks of each of those happen to be. Snaps on with magnets. There's a piece of Velcro on it that I assume was only for shipping, so I'm going to take that off now. And that's it. That's a walkthrough of the GweikeCloud. This is the Pro version. It does have pass-through, all of their models. I'll talk more about the models in a minute, but all of the models do have the pass-through slot. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the models of the GweikeCloud compared to the models of Glowforge. The GweikeCloud has 3 versions. There's one that they just call the desktop printer, one that they call the Pro, and one that's called RF, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. The desktop is 50 watts, it has a pass-through, it takes 12 by 20 inch, has a 12-month warranty, 30 days, no questions asked, send it back if you don't like it, and free fast shipping. It's about $3,200. They have warehouses in the United States, but because mine was a loaner, it came directly from Hong Kong, and it was shipped from the warehouse in Hong Kong on June 30th. The box with the fan arrived on July 3rd, and the laser itself arrived on July 5th. That's fast. That's less than a week for both pieces to arrive. Very, very fast. And for free shipping, that's pretty amazing. The difference between the two is that the Pro, you can take the bottom out of it. It has a rotary that comes with it. and faster speeds. So the speeds of cutting depend upon the power of the laser. Cutting speeds are almost completely dependent upon the laser power. So 50 watts compared to 40 watts should cut 25% faster. 50 watts compared to 45 watts, like the Glowforge Pro, should be about 10% faster. You might not notice that. Over the long run, it would make a big difference. But the engraving speeds are what I really want to test, because the literature says that this can engrave at 600 millimeters per second. Glowforge doesn't use millimeters per second units. They use like a 200 to 1,000 scale, but people have estimated that Glowforge engraves at about 140 millimeters per second. So if this can engrave at 600 millimeters per second, that would be amazing. I have my doubts. We'll see. We'll test it and see. But my huge 100-watt laser that I have at home only engraves at 500 millimeters per second. And you should know that even though my home laser engraves at 500 millimeters per second max, I normally use it at 50 because I do cutting boards, teak and acacia and walnut cutting boards. And to get a dark, even, consistent engrave, you have to go slow. It takes time to char wood. So don't be disappointed when you get a laser that has the ability to engrave very quickly, but you use it at slow speeds. There are other advantages. If you're engraving just the masking off of acrylic and you're going to paint it, then you can go faster. If you're engraving like Lowe's whiteboard, you can go really fast. I go like 350 millimeters per second on my laser at home. So we'll see. The basic and the pro version of the GweikeCloud say that they engrave at 600 millimeters per second. We'll test that and we'll see how it goes. Then the third model is called the RF. RF means radio frequency. So a regular CO2 laser tube uses plasma to ignite the laser, and plasma travels down the tube at a finite speed. And the speed that it takes to get down the tube determines how quickly it can blink on and off. Blinking on and off determines how quickly you can engrave. If you could move the laser at 10 million millimeters per second, but the laser can't blink fast enough to make your pattern, then that's no good. So RF, radio frequency, travels at the speed of light. So to get down this approximately 1 meter tube would take 1/3 billionths of a second to get from one end of the tube to the other. So theoretically, an RF tube can blink 300 million times per second. That allows it to engrave at 1,200 millimeters per second compared to the other two models, which are 600 millimeters per second. We're going to test that and see how it comes out. I don't have the RF version, so I can't test that one. But if this one comes out and the 600 millimeters per second is true, then I have no reason to believe that the 1,200 millimeters per second is not true. The RF version is 30 watts, so it'll cut a little slower, but it will engrave much, much faster. A couple of other things that I want to talk about with this. When you get an account with GweikeCloud, when you buy one of their lasers, they give you access to an online collection of designs, kind of similar to the paid-for subscription with Glowforge, but they're completely free. There was like 45 pages of 12 designs, and they're all completely free. It looks like maybe in the future it'll be free for one-time use. There's a checkbox where you pick one time or as many times as you want, and currently they both say $0. So maybe in the future they're going to let you cut each one once for free, and then after that maybe charge you. We'll see how that goes. But currently they're all completely free. You click on them, they load into the software, and then you just can cut them from there. So that's a pretty big benefit. That's up to $50 a month savings. The Pro version is $3,500. The regular version is $3,200-ish. So the difference between those two is not huge. The ability to use a rotary might be the deciding factor for a lot of people to be able to do the round objects like champagne glasses and tumblers and all of those kinds of things. So those are what the promises of the machine are. Now in the next video we're going to test it and see if those promises come to fruition. But right now it seems like it got here quickly. It looks like it's built well. The price is right. The service has been good. They have 24/7 online support. The last thing I wanted to talk about is there are 2 lenses available for the GweikeCloud. One is a 2-inch focal length and one is a 2.5-inch focal length. And if you think of what a lens does, a lens focuses a beam of light down to a point, and then it comes out the other side of that point like this. So when we talk about defocusing a laser to get a bigger score line, it's because you're not focusing the laser right here, you're focusing it up here where the beam is wider. It's like this wide instead of that wide. So the more narrow that beam is, the longer the sweet spot is for cutting. And so a 2.5-inch focal length laser is like this, and a 2-inch is like this. So 2-inch gives you a really fine point that's really good for engraving detailed work. And the 2.5-inch gives you a bigger sweet spot. So if you're going to cut some 1/4-inch or 1/2-inch material, it has a sweet spot that goes all the way through that material and makes it a lot better and easier for cutting thick materials. So that's the difference between the 2 and the 2.5-inch lens. The focusing on this we'll talk about in another video. Which lens you have in there, of course, is going to affect how you focus the laser. The materials that came with it, it comes with some cardboard, it comes with some acrylic, and it comes with some wood. And as you can see, it's the same size. And as you can see, here's a piece of proof grade material. It's a little bit longer, but basically the same. The 2 are almost identical in their sizes. Okay, so that's all for this intro video. I'll post another short clip at the end of this after I've hooked up the air. And then in the next video, we'll run a job and see how it goes. And then we'll run another one side by side with the Glowforge Pro and see how it compares. All right, thanks. All right, now that I've installed the fan, I have a few tips that I got as I was going through the building process. So first, here's the fan. One tip is I would install this back hose before placing it where I wanted. It was a long stretch to reach over there and get that on. Second is you don't want kinks in this hose if you can avoid it. So instead of bending the hose, you can squeeze it and make it shorter that way. So that's preferable to bending it a couple of times. Like some of the metallic, like aluminum hoses, they kind of make you do that. It looks like this one's twisted a bit, so I'm going to loosen this and untwist it. And then the other side just goes right out the window. So the model that I have came with the exhaust fan. It's similar to the exhaust fan that a lot of people purchase for their Glowforges. Additionally, the instructions say this, but I want to repeat it. Keep the box. If you do have to ship it back for any reason, you're going to need this box. Like, this foam is perfectly shaped for it, and you're going to have a very difficult time finding foam like that. Additionally, they put I've never seen this before, they put a shock sensor on the box. It's supposed to tell you if during shipping, if it took any shocks that were too hard and you should be concerned about. So it says inspect if red, and mine was red. So DHL was a little rough on it, but you've seen it and it's fine. There doesn't appear to be anything broken on it. So when I went into the toolbox, it turns out it does come with an extra 2.5-inch lens. So this one says 63.5 millimeters. That's 2.5 inches. The extra camera line. Light targets, I'm not sure what those are for. Maybe those are for aligning mirrors or something like that. It has pipe sealing tape that if you notice smoke coming out of this joint here, you can wrap pipe sealing tape around it. That'll take care of that. There's a measuring tool, whiteboard marker, not sure about that one yet. Cotton swabs, Allen wrenches, another ruler, and some spare fuses, so that's nice. So that's what's in the box, plus the USB cable, the Cat5 network cable. That's it. I think we've taken the whole tour. We've built it. We put it together. Everything's ready to go. Now I just have to log on to the website, make an account. Once they create my account, then I'll be ready to log on to the app and get started creating and building and cutting and engraving. So I'll see you for that in the next video.